Everyone, and welcome to my Ready to Love reunion, a part 2, a recap, a commentary, and we made it to the end, y'all. We made it to the end, and this is it. And I guess after this, we're gonna move on to the next city, I guess, which is Dallas. I thought they was doing a second season in Miami, but I was told I was wrong. And we're gonna move on to Dallas next season. I don't know when it starts. We probably all need a little break from this season. But I was happy to see that there is a possibility for one love story, a one happy ending, and that is with Mike and Brandy. You know, Brandy from the beginning has always been one of my favorites. I really came to love her heart and her genuineness. And in a lot of ways, I just really hope Mike does right by her. I really hope he doesn't spoil her. I am trusting him to be different than what I see on that Instagram. I am trusting Mike to treat Brandy right. I think he recognizes what he has in her. And I hope that he will honor her and cherish her and take care of her. There's one thing I said about Mike all season long, and that is Mike understands women. From the very, very beginning, I said of all the men on the show who really understood women, it was Mike. And Mike said a couple of things this episode that further solidify that in my mind. And the thing about men, when they understand women, they can use that knowledge in a good way, or they can use it in a bad way. It's almost like a criminal. You know, some criminals are real smart, and they can either use their knowledge and their smartness to skirt the law and do crimes and get away with crimes, or they actually can use their smartness and they can turn that into, you know, legitimate businesses and do very, very, very well. So I think Mike really understands women, and I think he can use it either in a good way or a bad way. And I hope what he does with Brandy is he uses it in a good way, because he has the potential, like we saw happen with Kayla. Mike has the potential to use all his knowledge and understanding of women to really use it sometimes in a way that's not so good. But we actually learned in this episode that Mike and Kayla had an agreement. And he had mentioned earlier that him and Kayla had an understanding. And I think what happened between he and Kayla was that maybe they were using each other to stay on the show. And this is the understanding that Mike had, but maybe sometimes the lines got a little blurred. And I also think that Kayla got a little bit more caught up with it than she thinks she did, and more than she thought she would have got caught up. I think Mike was probably clear in his communication all along that Brandy was number one. Because remember, Mike wasn't one of the ones just saying things in private. He also said it in public. He and Swayze were the two that they did quite often in public always say it was Brandy, Brandy, Brandy. Now, you know, so I think maybe they did have a little under the table handshake, that they were going to play this game and that they were going to be each other's cover. But along the way, I think Kayla got caught up. I think Kayla got caught up with Mike, and the lines got a little blurred. And I think in some situations, Mike took advantage of those blurred lines. But I never thought it was a really close race between Brandy and Kayla. I never did think that. I thought it was always a Brandy, and it proved that that was the case. But I want to start from the beginning of the show. It started off right where it left off last time, with Kadian talking about how she gonna slap the F out of a B, which is Charisse. I don't know if Kadian is interviewing for a reality TV show. Something tells me that Kadian is interviewing for her next gig to be on a show again after this, because Kadian says a lot of fiery things and gets all riled up about things that I just don't understand why. I mean, Kadian was one of the girls that was locked down very early in the season by Swayze, but yet she continually inserted herself in other people's relationships. I didn't get it. I almost felt like, girl, why are you over here? If you lock down with this man, just concentrate on you and him. But it was almost as like that wasn't enough for her to do. She needed something to do. It was almost as if because she got chosen so soon by Swayze, she was bored. So she has to go around and gossip and cause problems. I really don't understand why she got into so many fights with women, and specifically so much fighting with Charisse. I really don't know what's at stake between these two. Why there's so much venom and hostility between them, to the point that Kadian says she's going to slap the F out of this B on TV. I just thought that was ridiculous. I really just thought that was ridiculous. And then Kayla up here crying and talking about why can't we all just get along like she Rodney King. Kayla loves a moment. Kayla loves the camera on her. And even in the middle of a big explosive fight between Kadian and Charisse, Kayla finds a way to get the camera back on her. This girl loved the camera. She loved the attention. But anyway, Kadian tells Tommy, you know what, Tommy, I want to apologize for getting out of character. Girl, if you out of character this much, it is your character. She acted like this is out of character. Well, once you get out of character more often than you're in another character, the out of character is your character. Kadian doesn't see herself. Poor Kadian. She does not see herself. She keeps brushing it away as if it is not her all the time. And I know later on in this episode, she and Swayze say that they're each other's soulmate. And Tommy asked them how they're doing. And he says, well, they're doing much better. And that even though they have hiccups here and there, that they are not as volatile as they were on the show. And Kadian says she's learning how to just give Swayze his space. I hope so, because I really don't think, if she's looking for marriage, which I think she is, I don't think that this type of behavior that she showed on the show is going to get her there. But if she's saying she's improving, then that's good. But I don't know if I can believe that. I don't believe how you can be this person on the show, volatile, cussing people out, and then when you go home, or you just, all of a sudden you just turn it off. Like I just don't believe that with Kadian. I don't believe it at all. So either Swayze just loves it, which is fine. If he loves it, love it. But I'm not going to believe the story that somehow or another what we see on TV, Kadian is completely different when the cameras go away. Unless she's acting, like I said, unless she's acting and trying out for a new reality TV show, and she wants to show the producers of that TV show that she can bring good drama and turn it up and maybe get some ratings, then I would believe it. Then I could believe she's a different person, because then that means she would just be acting. And if she's acting, then she's a darn good actress, and she probably should be put on another television show. But then Kayla starts crying, talking about why are black women fighting? Kayla, with all her nasty remarks all season long, now she's wondering why black women are fighting, and she wants black women to get along. Kayla was hating on so many black women all season long. And poor Jamala, when she heard that, she was scrunching up her face like she had eaten a lemon or like they had stuck up a COVID test up her nose. She was like, Jamala's face was scrunched up like she was getting a COVID test with a swab up her nose. It was horrible. Jamala could not keep a straight face. It's obvious that Jamala does not like Kayla, and they don't get along with Trinika either. It's a big mess. This little square, it ain't even a love triangle with Randall. This square is a hot mess, and I hope this is the end for Jamala, and I hope Jamala walks away, because I don't know if you guys watched my video I did earlier on the Randall interview with Jamala. Hopefully you do. If you don't, please watch it, because it helps explain this moment here in this finale part 2. And it also helps explain where I think why Jamala is the way she is, because Jamala got love bombed by Randall. He absolutely love bombed her to death, and told her all sorts of things and puffed her up. And then when he went in public, he didn't do any of the things he told her from behind the scene. It was all things he said in the dark. And so what Jamala was feeling was, why are things one way in private and then we come out in public and there's a different problem? It's kind of what I said about Kayla. In the dark, in the public, it's all this stuff. You do things in the dark, but you want people to believe what's in the dark, and you don't want people to believe what's in public. And even Samson kind of alluded to it with Charisse, because Charisse was saying, hey, I want to be claimed. I want you to tell all the other women that I'm the number one girl. First of all, I knew Samson was not into Charisse at all. He never liked her. He used her to stay on the show. And she should understand that it is true, because Charisse was about to get voted off. And if Samson didn't step in and start being the number one voting for Charisse would have gotten voted off earlier. I think they helped each other. I think that if Charisse hadn't claimed Samson, he would have gotten voted off. And if Samson hadn't claimed Charisse, she would have gotten voted off. So they actually helped each other stay on the show longer. And so when Charisse said she didn't get from Samson the validation she needed, I think she was correct. So I don't think Samson was really ever into her. And I didn't like Samson's answer saying, well, I did claim you, but I claimed you behind closed doors. And then told her that should have been good enough. No. All these behind closed door promises and affirmations in the dark and at nighttime. But then when it's daylight, these men act like they don't even know these women's names. I'm with Charisse. I'm with anybody else who says, no, you're going to have to be the same person in private and in public. And I wouldn't be willing to settle for you telling me sweet things in private and then me saying, okay, I just need to be okay with it, even though you don't say it in public and you like to run around and let other people think that you like them as well. But I just have to rest on the fact that you told it to me in private. No, I wouldn't go for that. And a lot of women don't go for that trick. And I was glad that Charisse didn't go for that with Samson. But you know what? He didn't like Charisse. He was not interested in Charisse. He just used Charisse to stay on the show. And like he said, he's moved on. He got him a new woman from his church. And they are now exclusive. Good for you, Samson. Good for you. And this whole debacle with Looney and Justice, and Justice talking in circles and saying he didn't really want to get to know Looney on the show because of the process and it's too much chatter around and too much movement. But he wanted to get to know her in a private setting away from the show. But then when the show's over, he don't follow through. Justice and Randall saying the same thing. Oh, the show was too much. Dating a bunch of people at one time was too much for them. Then why come on the show? This is what the show was about, was to date multiple people at the same time. So if the process is too much for you, then you shouldn't have come on the show. But then what they say is, it was too much for me, and I kind of want to get to know these women outside of this process when there's so much chatter around. But once the show ended and the chatter was gone, the men still weren't checking for the women and trying to get to know them. And I think that's what hurt Looney's feelings, because I think for a while she believed the story of Justice, that it was the show that was the problem. It was all how the rules were. And Justice was like, I can't be doing this. It's not what I do. I don't date a bunch of women. I don't take women out. I don't do this. It was all uncomfortable for Justice, all uncomfortable with Randall. And then once all that is removed and the women are thinking, okay, just like Jamala thought and just like Looney thought, now that all that chatter and stuff is removed, there should be a clear path for us now to establish something, go out and do whatever else. And the men's behavior doesn't change. And they realize that all these men were doing were blowing a smoke up their butts. It was all an excuse, because these men really never really had any real intention of really following through with anything solid. Not at all. And these women got their hearts broken or saddened. So you got Looney running out, and she's got a broken heart, or she's upset. I won't say it's a broken heart, but she's upset because not only she was, at the time, she was even talking to Justice. They weren't talking. They weren't going out. They weren't doing anything. And then Justice talking about, I had to let her go because I didn't want to hurt her. I hate when people be trying to put things in a way like they're trying to save you and protect you, when the real truth is they just trying to wiggle away. He wasn't trying to date Looney. And even after this, he goes chasing after her and tries to console her. Nothing's going to become of this. He just didn't want to see her on camera crying. Of course, no one wants to see a woman crying. But does he have any real intentions of doing anything seriously with Looney? No, not at all. No, not at all. Because let me tell you, if he was really interested in Looney, this show wouldn't have stopped him. Absolutely not. The show would not have stopped him. So to say that the reason why he wasn't really pursuing her in a real way was because of the show, that's not true. That's bullcrap. So in the end, we are probably only going to get 2 possible love stories. So we still have hope for Swayze and Kadian, if Kadian can work it out. And then we have some hope from Brandy and Mike, because Mike said that, hey, you know what? If things go well, because we're dating exclusively, then he sees engagement, and then he sees marriage. And when they were rolling back the tape on Mike and Brandy, I'm telling you, Kayla looked like she was about to cry. She looked like she was about to cry because she actually saw all the public things that Mike was saying about Brandy on camera and in public. And I think for the first time, she was able to see the difference between her and Brandy. Because I think for a while she struggled with seeing, is there a difference between her and Brandy? I don't know why she didn't see it, but there was quite a bit of difference because we saw it. But I do have to remember that at the time, they're not getting to see everything we're seeing. So she didn't get to see the interaction with Brandy and Mike and everything Mike was saying on camera. And I think for the first time she saw it and she understood more thoroughly how she was not in the number 1 position ever, and not ever close at all. And I do think there was some sort of honesty to some point that Mike probably told Kayla. But like I said, Kayla's competitive, and I bet what happened was, even though Mike told her Brandy was his strongest connection and that's where he wanted to devote his time, I think Kayla thought she could beat out Brandy. And I think she went for it. She went for it. She said, yeah, we got this agreement. I'll keep him on the show. She'll keep me on the show. He's told me that Brandy is the number 1, but I'm not going to stop competing. Because in the Randall interview that I did the video on, Randall even says that at the retreat, he went to Kayla and told Kayla that he wanted to concentrate on Jamala. They didn't show it, but he said there was a scene that didn't get shown where he did eventually go to Kayla and tell her. But we all know that even though he told that to Kayla, Kayla didn't stop fighting for Randall, and she didn't stop fighting for Mike. But Kayla was in one of the comments of one of my videos, and she explained that she was using the men too, and that she used them to stay on the show. That's her story. So if you want to read her full explanation of it, it was on the comments of my last video, and you can read it. But that was her explanation. But I think Kayla got a little caught up. I think she says that it was all for a game. But I think Kayla did develop some feelings for Mike, more so than Randall. And I think she was hurt because I think what Mike did was he told Kayla, but he also sent her mixed signals. But I think he, like I said before, I think both Randall and Mike used Kayla. I still say it. I don't think that Mike was ever gonna choose Kayla. Not at all. There might be some things he liked, might be some things he admired, but I don't ever think that it was a choice. And I just hope, I really hope and pray that he is real and authentic with Brandy, because I think Brandy's heart is genuine and she speaks from the heart, and I believe this is real for her. And as she said, she wants kids, she wants to be married, she wants to be a wife, and she wants a family. I know some people on this show are playing games and just things along, but I think it was real for Brandy. I do not think it was fake. So I just hope that Mike is genuine. Jamala expressed disappointment that she put all her eggs in one basket with Randall. And not only did she walk away without a love connection, she also walks away without a friend, because at this point in time, Randall don't even want to be Jamala's friend anymore, because like I told you, once Randall gets irritated or you ask anything for him, he barely want to talk to you. And he don't even want to hang around Jamala anymore. So they absolutely won't be friends anymore. And Jamala needs to go on, lick her wounds, learn something from this, and move on. But she absolutely got loved bombed by Randall in the beginning. And I think if the other ladies, the Kaylas and the Trinikas of the world, if they really knew how bad Randall was love bombing Jamala, I think they might look at her differently. Because I think everyone looked at her as like, how is she feeling this way? But it was Randall who said he love bombed her. He didn't say love bomb, but he talked about how he laid it on thick and that he told her he loved her and that he didn't want to date anybody else. That's love bombing when all of a sudden you turn around. But watch my video on Randall. You'll get a lot more. I don't want to go over it again in this video, but you'll hear a lot more what I think about Mr. Randall. But that's it, y'all. And hey, maybe we'll get another little love connection. Maybe April and Calvin will hook up because they seem to have a good conversation. Maybe that will be our third connection. I can see that. I think they're two mature people, and I think maybe they could have some things in common. They actually seem like, you know, maybe they could have some things in common. So I'll be interested to see if they end up talking after the show and hooking up and getting together and dating. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that. But that's it, y'all. I'm not going to keep it long because I already did an earlier video on this show. But definitely check that out. And I will see you next time for Put a Ring on It. I guess Put a Ring on It should be starting soon. I don't know when. But if not, Put a Ring on It. I will see you for the next Ready to Love season in Dallas or Miami or wherever it is. But thank you, everyone who was on this journey with me throughout the season. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you dropping down in the comments. I appreciate you liking my video. I appreciate all of that. And thanks for making it fun and interesting for me to be able to watch the show and then come to talk to you guys afterwards. So enjoy your hiatus, and I will talk to you later. Bye.